So I've already done my fan casting for Fantastic Four. Let's talk about X-Men. What is up, Flick fans, and welcome back to my channel. I had a lot of fun talking about who I would like to play every member of the Fantastic Four along with Doctor Doom. Now, today, this video is going to be a lot different because for that video, I gave multiple options for each character because there were only 5 people to talk about. In today's video, I'm talking about the X-Men, but not just the core team. I'm throwing in some random characters here and there, so we have a lot of characters to talk about. And because of that, for most of these, I'm only going to be fan casting one actor or actress for each character. For a few of them, I couldn't really decide between two, so I'll give you both options and tell you which one I prefer slightly. But for the most part, we are doing one actor for one character, and listen, this is all fan casting. I'm not friends with Kevin Feige, so I don't know what they're going to do. I don't even know if a lot of these characters will make it into a potential X-Men movie, but that's part of the fun, right? Finding young actors and actresses, or just ones that seem perfectly appropriate for that. You'll have both on this list to play each character that we know and love. And of course, I want your comments down below. Who do you want to play each character? Or if you just want to talk about the main characters such as Professor X, Magneto, Wolverine, we can talk about those. And speaking of Professor X and Magneto, we're starting out with those two, and let's talk about Professor X. So I mentioned before that I am going to try my best to find maybe actors and actresses that you may not be the most familiar with for a lot of these roles. And while searching for the potential actor to play Professor X, I suddenly realized to myself, you know what? It's just not going to happen. I have to go with the obvious choice. And no, not because he was bald in Breaking Bad. But I'm going with Bryan Cranston because I think, one, I would love to see the guy in the MCU or just play an integral role in a superhero movie in general. I know we saw him in Power Rangers, but I want to see him do some damage in this movie as Professor X. It's a very different choice from a James McAvoy or a Patrick Stewart, and I don't even know if he could master the accent because he would probably have to bring that with him, but I would just love to see Bryan Cranston take his epic voice, play this role, lead the X-Men, and become what I believe to be one of the best superheroes of all time. And I think he would kill it, from his role in Breaking Bad where he proved that he could be completely and utterly dynamic, to bringing in the humor as he has done multiple times in his movies. I want him to be in a superhero film. I know it's the cliche and conventional choice, and I promise it's not going to be that way for every single hero on this list, but for the first one, going Bryan Cranston. And next up, we have Magneto, and stealing from the exact same movie where Ian McKellen played a certain character in these films, I am taking Viggo Mortensen, the guy who just got nominated for an Oscar last year, and I'm casting him as this character because, one, I think he has the gravitas to do it, and two, I do think he has the acting chops. The guy is just epic. His voice, I think, is perfect for this character. From Aragorn to really the character that he played in Green Book, he can be sympathetic when he needs to be, but he can also be this leader, and in this case, it would be the leader of the very bad people, and I think Magneto in the new movies, I think he's going to be a lot more of a bad guy than he was in the original films. I love those movies because you could sympathize with him, and I do think we'll get that element here. But Magneto could be the next big villain, earthly villain in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and you have to have a guy who can command the screen every time he's on it. I would love to see Viggo Mortensen play that role, and that's why I'm casting him as Magneto. And next up, we have Nightcrawler. Now, this was one of the more difficult ones to tackle. I had to look around for quite a bit before I found the person that I think is right for Nightcrawler. And for the most part, I'm going younger with the cast because I think there's a lot of upcoming great young actors out there. But Robert Sheehan, a little bit older than the rest of the cast that I'm getting, but not too old. You might know him from Klaus in Umbrella Academy. That's really the only thing I know him for. But the way that they wrote his character in that show provided for a performance that had to hit the nail on the head. He had to integrate the emotion. He had to bring in the sympathy from the audience. He got all of those things, and while I was watching, I didn't feel Nightcrawler at the time because, like I said, I had to search for this guy to find him, but as soon as I thought of him and I went back to it, I'm like, that's perfect. And I'm sure other people are thinking the same thing because he's just perfect. He has the look. Now, I think a lot of people are going to look at like a Timothée Chalamet and say, oh, he has the look for Nightcrawler. But you bring in Timothée Chalamet, you have to give him a bigger part than just Nightcrawler in the MCU. Robert Sheehan, I mean, the guy is a great actor, but he's not as established as a name that big. I think this is his chance to prove to the world that he could be great as this character. And once again, I think he could be great as this character. Next up, we are talking Mystique. Like I said, bringing in younger actors and actresses. This actress is my age, exactly, 24 years old. I think it's actually around the age that Jennifer Lawrence got the role as Mystique when she first got cast. But this is Haley Lu Richardson. If you don't know who that name is, she is from 5 Feet Apart, The Edge of 17, and Split. Now you're starting to, oh, it's that girl. I like that girl. And that's what I say every time I see her pop up on screen. I like her, but it's not just I like her. It's she has a dynamic personality. She's been likable in all of the movies thus far, but I want her to take on a character that's unlikable. I want her to do something to me, to bring in an element of Mystique that, of course, we've seen before, but an element that makes Mystique Mystique. And that's this suave personality, this dynamic personality where you can be great at one moment, so you think, and then at the other moment, she can just, she can beat you up. And I do think Haley Lu Richardson could do that. I would love to see her as Mystique. She has Mystique vibes to me, and I just want her to take on a role that we haven't seen from her just yet. Now, originally, when I was doing this, I cast Jamie Bell as Cyclops. Jamie Bell is a phenomenal actor. Just watched him in the A24 movie Skin. He was phenomenal in that movie. And then I looked at the age and I'm like, oh, that's a lot older than the girl that I picked for Jean Grey. So I had to go younger. And the younger actor that I took, and bear with me here, I took Blake Jenner. Now, Blake Jenner, the guy just looks like a superhero. If you don't know who Blake Jenner is, once again, The Edge of 17, American Animals, one of my favorite movies from last year, and I think the key and the standout performance for me is Everybody Wants Some. He was awesome in that movie. He had the presence that I think a Cyclops needs to have, and honestly, I think he may turn into one of the better actors on this list the older that he gets and the more opportunities that he gets. And look at the guy. He just looks like he belongs in the superhero world. Now, Blake Jenner, he may just look like, this guy's some douchebag and he's just some jock and this and that. He kind of played a jock and Everybody Wants Some, but then you dive deep into his character and you really start to pull out the layers. And that's what I want from a Cyclops. So far, our actors who have played Cyclops, they've done a good job, but the writing for the character hasn't been the strongest. I think Cyclops needs better writing in this upcoming interpretation of X-Men, and I think Blake Jenner, in my opinion, he's your guy to play him. Up next, we're going Kaitlyn Dever. That is the actress from Booksmart. If you guys have seen Booksmart, you know how funny she is. If you've seen Short Term 12, you know how dynamic she is as an actress. Kaitlyn Dever is truly a great upcoming actress, and the one thing that I will say about her is I have not seen the intensity that it takes to be Jean Grey thus far. I've seen the likability, I've seen the comedic aspects, but she's not as funny as a character. I think she could refrain herself in that sense. But listen, this girl's going to go on to do great things. I want to bring out her inner demons as Jean Grey, and I don't think they may not even go the Dark Phoenix route just because they've tried it so many times, but she still has her demons, she still has her struggles. Kaitlyn Dever is a really good actress. I think she can handle all of that, and that's why I'm casting her as Jean Grey to go along with Blake Jenner's Cyclops. This one was tough. Rogue was a tough character to cast because you need someone who can kind of bring in that accent. I didn't choose someone with an accent, but you get an actor, they're supposed to act and develop that themselves. I chose Maya Hawke. Now, Maya Hawke, Stranger Things, of course, and more recently, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And yes, she's new on the scene. And yes, she's a celebrity's daughter. She's Ethan Hawke and Uma Thurman's daughter. Listen, Maya Hawke, just the two things that I've seen her in so far, she's shown me that she has a lot of skill, a lot of talent. This likability, yes, but also this just kind of, you don't know a lot about her. You want to learn more about her as an actress, as a character, and that's what I feel when I think of Rogue. You don't know a lot about Rogue. She's hiding something, and that's the element that I think Maya Hawke could bring to a Rogue. And that's why I think she would be really good in this role. I thought about it, and the more I thought about it, her face just kept popping up in my head. I'm like, yeah, that could be interesting. It would be very different from the Rogue that we got in the other movies, but very interesting. Next up is Margaret Qualley. I hope I'm pronouncing that right, from The Nice Guys, The Leftovers, and once again, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And I love this girl. She is such a great actress. She can bring you in to her zone and never let you out because she's so captivating. I think it's her line delivery. I think that's what does it for me. Every time she says something, you believe it because of the way that she goes about bringing it to the screen. Now, Shadowcat is a character that we have seen before, and she was really good. Ellen Page, I thought, did a great job in the other movies. This would be a different interpretation. This would be one that isn't as reserved because I think this actress is a bit more personable than Ellen Page. Not in a bad way. I'm just saying that's the way that she presents herself on screen. But she would be really good as the character, and we always have to at least consider the looks, and all of these actors so far, they've had the looks, and I think she looks like a comic book interpretation of Shadowcat, and that makes it a very interesting decision, and that's my choice. All right, going a different route here with Iceman, because as we know, Iceman is white from the comics, but there's nothing about his character that screams to me that he has to be white. Why would he have to be white? I'm going very different. I'm going Aladdin, aka Mina Massoud. Mina Massoud is a great actor, and I've only seen him in that one thing. He's popped up here and there in other things, but that's really the only thing that I know him from. And he has this dynamic about him where he has likability, yes, but I feel like he needs to take on a superhero at some point. So when I got to Iceman, I'm like, I want to go a bit different with this choice. One, maybe an actor that's a bit more dynamic, but two, an actor that is not very well known. And of course, he's well known at this point for Aladdin, but that's about all that he's done. Mina Massoud would be a good Iceman. Just bear with me here. Iceman is a character that struggles revealing his powers. He doesn't want to tell his parents that he is a mutant because of the way that they feel about mutants. Mina Massoud, the struggle that he had in Aladdin, that kind of resonated with me, and I brought that over to the character of Iceman, and I'm like, it's a different struggle, very different struggle, but I'm like, I could buy that if he was dealing with that in this movie. Some people may not be on board with it, but that's who I want to play him. All right, I struggled with Pyro because originally I'm like, oh yeah, Will Poulter, because Will Poulter just looks like a bad guy and he would be a very good Pyro. And while he is a very close second, I'm going to go with more of an unknown name, and I'm going with George MacKay. Maybe it's George Mackay? George MacKay. Well, regardless, I know him from 11/22/63, which is one of my favorite shows. One of my favorite shows that not a lot of people have seen of all time. And his character in that show, he starts out as kind of an off-putting guy, then he has a bit of good, a bit of bad in him. But the way that he goes about playing that character is awesome. And then you saw the 1917 trailer, you know, that guy running through all of the explosions in that trailer who looks to be one of the main characters. He's that guy. So we're going to see even more from him, but he has this darkness to him every time I see him play someone on screen. And he's a great actor. He's one of the better actors that just hasn't really been cast in anything. I mean, he was in Captain Fantastic and he was really good. And he is an up-and-coming guy that you're going to want to keep an eye out for, but I think he would be really good as Pyro, and he'd bring another... Next up, we have Beast, and first off, I'm like, Ansel Elgort, yep, great actor, but Ansel Elgort, he's growing and growing and growing. Is he really going to take the character of the Beast? Now, I know we've seen great actors take this character, and he could absolutely do it, but once again, I want to go with more of an unknown, and Jack Lowden, while he is an unknown actor right now, I don't think he's going to be for very long. A lot of people will know him from Dunkirk. A lot of people will know him from Fighting With My Family. That's right, he's the brother in Fighting With My Family. I knew that, duh. Listen, Jack Lowden, I have seen a lot from him just in the two movies that I really know him from. Didn't get to talk a lot in Dunkirk, but he had this vulnerability to him that I think the Beast would make for an appropriate character to bring that into. And then in Fighting With My Family, you just feel for the guy, what he goes through in that movie. You're supposed to feel for the Beast. You're supposed to understand, or at least slightly understand what he's going through. And that's why I think Jack Lowden has it. He has the size, he's a bigger dude, he's a taller dude, and he has the acting talents. I think he would make for a really cool Beast. All right, for this next one, we're going a bit older with the cast, but Angel doesn't have to be a character that you start out with at a super young age. He can come in later on, and by the time we get X-Men, these actors are going to be 5 years older anyway, so it's not going to matter. But Tom Felton. That's right, Tom Felton from Harry Potter. We all know him as Draco Malfoy from Harry Potter. He was also in The Flash, really good in that movie, and Rise of the Planet of the Apes. And it's really Rise of the Planet of the Apes. That's the character I'm going to, and I'm like, Angel is a bit douchey sometimes in the comic books. He is someone that it takes a while to gravitate towards, but he's also a character that you come around on, and he sometimes stands, it's according on what interpretation you're working with, stands for this symbol of hope, and I think Tom Felton can do that. Tom Felton, he's known for being kind of like I don't like that guy. Not as an actor, just the character he's playing on screen, but I think Tom Felton has that. What the Angel should be, what the Angel could be, and he kind of looks like him as well. I'm also basing this off of looks, and he just has the look for it. All right, this is another one that I'm super excited about. A little older once again, but Gambit doesn't have to be the same age as the other X-Men. Billy Magnuson from movies like Aladdin and The Big Short and Game Night. Billy Magnuson is awesome. He's a great actor. He is so funny. He is so different. He is so dynamic. The accent is the one thing where I'm like, I don't know if he could do it. I think he could because he's a great actor. Therefore, great actors can usually adapt accents like that. If he can master that accent, Billy Magnuson has every chop in the world to take the character of Gambit and run with it. The looks are a bit different than what you would expect Gambit to maybe look like from the comic books, but hey, he kind of reminds me of Channing Tatum just from a structural standpoint, and Channing Tatum was, of course, cast as Gambit earlier on. I think he could come into the role, and Billy Magnuson is one of my favorite actors that nobody is talking about right now out there. Gambit is a great choice for him. And then we come to Storm. Storm was a difficult one to find because I just thought Alexandra Shipp was perfect for her in the other movies. And then I thought about if Beale Street could talk. And then I thought about Kiki Layne and her performance in If Beale Street Could Talk. And Kiki Layne blew me away. She made me emotional. She made me want to cry multiple times in that movie. And she held her own against some powerhouse performers. She's young. She's going to be in so many more things, and she's going to be a great actress. And she brings that aura of Storm. Yes, she's a little bit more reserved. She's a bit quieter. But if it came down to it, I think she could bring it as the character of Storm. Lupita Nyong'o was a phenomenal choice for so long, and now she's in Black Panther, so of course she can't do it because they're in the same universe, and she is a bit older. Kiki Layne, she's young, she has the talent, she is a beautiful actress, and I think she would be a fantastic Storm. All right, we have two more left. We're saving the best for last. You guys know what we're talking about. But first, we are doing Vanessa Kirby as Emma Frost. Emma Frost is someone who I have been wanting to see get a good interpretation of for so long. I don't think we've had a great Emma Frost yet. We've had an Emma Frost. I didn't love the interpretation. Vanessa Kirby, from her role in Mission Impossible Fallout to her role in Fast and Furious Hobbs and Shaw, and oh yeah, The Crown, that's actually showcasing her incredible acting abilities. But those other two movies, you can see her in action. And she's great in action. She really is kind of an action star. She also kind of looks like Emma Frost from the comic books, and you can see her talent in The Crown. She is oh so good. Vanessa Kirby is one of the best actresses out there, and I think she's about to break out, and what better to break out in than a superhero role in the Marvel Cinematic Universe or a supervillain role. It's according to which route they go with her, but Emma Frost. That's the one. All right, Wolverine, this is the big one. I've been hearing a lot of people say a lot of names. Carl Urban, he's a bit older, but he would be great. Well, he was in Thor Ragnarok. Tom Hardy, of course. He would be amazing as Wolverine, but he's Venom, and there's a good chance that Venom is going to meet up with Spider-Man, and that would make Tom Hardy being weird in the MCU. And he's already played multiple supervillains. Okay, who is left? Now, Taron Egerton, that's the name I keep hearing as Wolverine. And honestly, that's a really good choice. And that's probably the choice that I would have made, but I don't want to give you guys someone that you've been hearing multiple times. It's like, oh, he's just going to rehash the same thing as the character that we basically clicked on this video for. I don't want to do that. So here's what I'm doing. I'm going what some people used to say, off-brand Tom Hardy, but after the movie Upgrade, he is no longer off-brand Tom Hardy. Austin, wasn't he in Spider-Man Homecoming? Yes. Logan Marshall Green was in Spider-Man Homecoming for like 30 seconds. He was barely in the movie. By the way, if you want to bring up that argument, Mahershala Ali was in Luke Cage. Supposedly Luke Cage was in the MCU. Now that has been since like kind of pushed to the side, but at the time that was in the MCU. Also, another Luke Cage actor was in the MCU. She was in Civil War. Okay, listen, they have done this before where they bring in actors from the same universe. Now, they haven't done it to this degree because Logan Marshall Green in Spider-Man Homecoming, like I said, and he had a role, but he's barely in the movie. People will forgive them for that because Logan Marshall Green is just look at the guy. He killed it in Upgrade. He was an action star in Upgrade. He was deep and gruffly when he had to be because he has that in him. He has a deep voice. He's a bit shorter than Hugh Jackman, so that's going to appease people. He kind of looks like Tom Hardy, and everybody's been calling for Tom Hardy. I think he could bulk up. That's the one thing for me is like, can he get a bit bigger? Absolutely. Actors do it all the time. I know he can. He was also good in Prometheus, regardless of what you feel about that movie. Logan Marshall Green for a long time has been in the back of my mind for the character of Wolverine, and the only reason why I hesitated to tell you guys that today is because he has been in the MCU, but it was such a small role, like I said. I do think he would be awesome as Wolverine. Would I still put Taron Egerton as, okay, he would clearly be a great, of course, he's awesome. But a choice that not everybody's been talking about is Logan Marshall Green, and I think the guy could 1,000% bring it and make up for his lost time in Spider-Man Homecoming because he got killed off pretty quick. Guys, that's the video. Those are my choices. And it's going to be a bit tougher to agree with me on this video because, of course, I only gave one choice for each character. But I want to know, are there actors out there that you guys would prefer as these characters? How did you feel about my choices? Did you enjoy them? Was I a bit off on certain things? It's all opinion-based. Nothing is factual. And Marvel's probably going to go a completely different route and cast people that I never could have imagined. And there's a good possibility they go with a bunch of unknown names as well, which would be interesting and I'd be up for. But this is what a fan casting is. You fan cast people that are going to play your favorite characters on the big screen, and that's exactly what we did today. I had a lot of fun doing this. I appreciate everyone. Thank you so much for watching this. You're the absolute best, and I'll see you very soon.